Welcome to the Virtual Cheese Awards 2020, showcasing the best of British cheese. I'm Louisa McCoy from Good Sense Research, and I am one of the stewards today, and I will be looking after this session. We are about to start judging some of the classes, and the class that we will be judging now is Cheshire, and that's the B group. And I would like to introduce our two esteemed cheese judges and ask them now just to say a little bit about themselves, and in particular their involvement with cheese. So first of all, Tanny, can you just introduce yourself, please?
Hello, I'm Tanny Gill. I'm looking forward to judging today the first Virtual Cheese Awards. I've spent the last 17 years in the British cheese industry, right from making cheese on the Isle of Mull to retailing in London with La Fromagerie, and spent last about 7 or 8 years judging at various competitions, British, international, as well as local at the Royal Highland Show in Scotland. So I am today. Thanks.
And Bruce?
Yeah, I'm Bruce MacDonald, founder of the Guild of Cheese Graders. I've worked in cheese grading since 1987. And started off as a job, then became a very long career as an absolute mad passion for brilliant products, and I'm absolutely delighted that Sarah and Nigel invited me to be part of the Virtual Cheese Awards.
Excellent. And also joining us today is Helen Blair, who's the Head of Research at Good Sense Research. So the judges will be using a point system to judge the cheeses in this class, and we have 6 cheeses that are going to be judged. Now each cheese will be judged on 6 different attributes. As I say, it's out of 10, so there's a maximum of 60 points available, and then the winner of this class will go forward to the best of category stage, which will be held on Saturday. So now let's sit back and watch the process unfold.
So we starting with Cheshire, number 299.
299, yep.
And this is sponsored by Christine's, this category.
Right, so Cheshire, this is obviously a young, looks like a young block cheese, so bright white, even colour, definitely all of those. When I cut it, the knife is taken over from my cheese iron. On a Cheshire, you don't want to see, this type of Cheshire, you don't want to see any fat on the back of your cheese iron, and similarly, there's no fat on my knife. There was some moisture, but Cheshire's a moist cheese, so that is to be expected. It was a very smooth cut, and it sounded very wet. I'm the only one that can hear that, unfortunately, for anybody else who can't hear what, well, Tanny can hear what I hear, but nobody else. So I'm going to take it down here. I'm just kneading it down. I'll stand up. I'm just kneading down between thumb and fingers to see how hard or soft, how smooth or crumbly the texture goes. So this one is opening out very nicely into all sorts of different size curves. It's not hard underneath my thumb, so far so good. Smell again.
Lovely, very nice. Nice and clean, as Bruce is doing it. Once he's kneading it and then trying it, just clean, dry. Almost it gets powdery in the mouth, which is just right.
Very lemony as well. Yes.
Really good.
This is very lemony.
Okay.
We'll reserve full judgment on it till we've done another 1 or 2 to see how the class is panning out as a whole, but let's pop it to the side for a few minutes and look for cheese 300. Again, there's no fat on the knife, my piece of steel, which is good. I've gone
Loads of
right into the
texture.
heart of this piece as well.
See that lovely kind of crumbly nature to it, just without even using the knife.
It's actually slightly harder than the first one. When you open the curds out, they're just that little bit harder than the first one, but they're okay.
This one's a bit acidic for my liking, flavor-wise. Aroma, texture is good, color is good.
The flavour is not as lemony as the previous one. It's a bit deeper, slightly more intense. It's a slightly older cheese than the first one. It's not quite as wet. And I think the whey might have been giving the first one that more sort of lemony note. A little bit drier, but still a good cheese. And then for a third one, 301, which has got some colouring in it.
So the historical identity of a Cheshire has to be color on it, Bruce, or is it white Cheshire part of today's acceptance of modern Cheshire?
No, they're both okay. I would imagine the white uncoloured version came before the coloured one,
Sure.
going back into history. But it can be, well, I know a traditional Cheshire maker, and I think they only make coloured. So.
Is this number 301?
Yep.
This is 301, yes. For me, it's interesting. The flavors are really, really sharp. Not something
There's
like
something not quite right about this flavour, this one.
Yeah.
I'm afraid I can't be any more specific than that, but
it is quite sharp.
Especially a bit more, yeah, it's slightly manurial compared to the others. There's a touch of the cowpat about it. Very slight, but it's there. It's not as clean as it should be, and it's
especially compared to the other two that we've just tried. But otherwise, texture, aroma seems.
Texture is okay. The aroma,
fine.
there's a hint of it.
Yeah.
There's a hint of it in the aroma, but it's definitely got the touch of manure in the flavour, which is it's a wee bit off-putting actually. It's not clean. I need to have a cleanse. I think we should start marking them actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, by and large, most of the cheeses that have come in, considering the travel to y'all and then to us, considering all that, a lot of them are pretty much really good. I mean, the cheesemakers have made an effort in getting that. The appearance, you can't really fault it, you're there or thereabouts. It's very difficult as judges to nitpick on that, keeping in mind everything, the travel and everything else. Really, the crux comes down for us too is to look at those flavors and textures where we're really trying to work on. So in spite of having 5 or 6 different.
This last one, yeah, 301. Although it looked good and it felt good, the taste let it down for me completely. Well, the taste, the flavour, and the aftertaste.
Well, that's the
Can't remember the
302.
last time I had a Cheshire with a flavour like that. That probably offended the cheesemaker, so I apologise. I've done it before. That's what judging's all about, actually, part of it. So, if we go back to 299, better do some scores, haven't we, Tanya?
Yeah. I've kind of got it over here. For me, I think flavor-wise, 299 stands out best compared to 300 so far.
Sorry, could you say that again, please?
Sorry, 299 flavor-wise is the best for me compared to the other two as so far we've tried out.
It's quite pronounced, which is, there's nothing wrong with that in particular. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cheshire has a wide strength scale.
Yeah, and I like it because it's got this flavor that complements its texture, which almost gets powdery on the palate, which really makes it more enjoyable. It almost makes it a lot going on, as they say. There's actually a lot going on because you're tasting it, feeling it.
It's also keeping its style as the strength of the flavour diminishes into the finish.
Absolutely, into the powder on the palate. That's what I like about it.
Yep.
Appearance, aroma, I think all three are there or thereabouts. I'm happy in 999.
Yeah, good nines, yeah.
I'm just tasting 300 to see if I'm wrong, but
Yeah, I've gone back to the texture on 300, and it's actually
beautiful texture.
it's gone into very, very small curds, and it's kind of fallen apart a wee bit actually.
I don't know. For now, we still got three more to judge, but probably give 299 on flavor and 308. Maybe revisit once we try the others because we don't know what these are tasting at the moment.
Texture for 299.
Yeah, 9. Yeah, happy with it. I'm happy.
It's 9. Yeah, I'd give 308.
Okay.
Just that bit harder. It's still. I know it's a point knocked off. It's still a good cheese.
Very good cheese, yeah.
But it's just not quite as good as the other. Well, I did say the aftertaste on 299 was lingering and it was keeping its style. It was very good as well. Yeah.
Sure.
9 again. And probably 8 for 300.
Yeah.
And 9 and 8 again. Because then we come to the coloured one, which looked okay.
Yeah.
Looked good.
Yeah.
I'd give it 9 for appearance.
Yeah.
But
appearance, aroma.
I'd give it 8 for aroma.
Yeah.
I'd only give it 5 for flavour because there's just something there that's not right. Texture, I give it 8.
8, absolutely.
And aftertaste, I give it 5.
Yeah.
To the character, because the flavour's not right, it's going to be a 5.
Sure.
And I'll add them up afterwards.
Sure.
What was your true to character for the other two, please?
And true to the character, 299 and 300, probably I'd go 9 and 8 again. 299.
9 and 8.
Yeah.
Because it's very consistent in all its aspects, whether it's texture, taste, flavor, finish.
For 300 on appearance and aroma, did you say 8 for those two?
9 and 8 for me.
9 and 8.
Sorry, 9 and 9 for appearance and aroma.
Okay, so the next one is 302.
302, yeah. It's interesting because you can see immediately it's probably small cheese or a producer that makes a smaller cheese. So the press is totally different. You feel is different. The textures, you know, piece itself is
yeah, I can see on it, on my piece, that there's some dull yellow patches. Now,
Yeah.
that could be down to the way it's been packed to send out to us, because obviously, you know, there's a time delay on that. The samples arrived the other night, and it could just be due to that. So to better assess that, I'm just going to split it right open and see what it's like in the middle. And it's, yeah, it's nice and bright and white. Yeah. So, yeah, it's just one of these things. It's just yeah, in transit can have that effect on them occasionally.
lovely texture. Really good, nice, clean on the palate. Very good finish.
If I've kneaded it down, I would say it's very fluffy,
Very fluffy, yeah.
which I don't really want to see in a Cheshire. It is, yeah, it's soft and fluffy, which is not Cheshire at all.
Also, it's interesting because you've said fluffy or soft, because even when you look at the pate, I'm not sure if the camera is really doing much justice to the cheese, but it's very clean. It's like almost the curd has been cut really fine and put together, so you get a very clean finish. It's like almost laying your icing on the cake, which is clean and smooth, unlike
It's quite dry as well.
yeah, unlike you look at harder cheeses, there are bumps and grooves and, you know, little kind of characters on it, kind of thing. So that's interesting.
And I mean, when I split it there, it's not crumbled, it's split kind of like when you split a carrot, which I don't really want to see that in a Cheshire either. I prefer it to be a bit more lumpy and varied. That's piece there's kind of too smooth, so the texture's not what it should be for me. Right, so I think we might as well score it now, Tanny, don't you?
Yeah, might as well, yeah.
Put it out its misery.
Appearance-wise, 8.
Yeah.
You're happy with that? Aroma? I couldn't really get any aroma.
It's pretty flat. I'll give it 7. It's a bit flat.
This one's 302, isn't it?
302, yes. Yeah.
The flavour is just really kind of nondescript, acidic, and not much else. I'd give it a 6, I think.
Yeah. It's clean. It's clean. It's not as minerally as the previous one, where the orange one was.
It just doesn't jump out. Texture, no, I'd give it a 6 as well. It's
6
not
as well, yeah. Happy with that.
And the aftertaste, I'll give it a 6 because it's pretty much gone. To the character,
6.
adding all that up, 6. I'll give it a 6, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's another, right.
Excellent. So we move on to 303.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So colouring in this one as well. And it's going to put a traditional rind on it. We can get into it.
It's quite interesting for us, as from the cheese making point of view, or even from a consumer's point of view. You see a cheese in a block like this, that you just see the pate itself. But over here, what you see is quite interesting, is you see the rind of the cheese or the skin of the cheese with its different coloration which again gives a whole different character on how you want to approach to start eating it. Because when you see a box or a square shaped cheese, you can go and attack it from however you want it. When you're having something like this, you almost start saying, that's my rind, so I'm going to start approaching from this side. And from someone of the guests looking at it on the board, start looking at the character and start building it up before you even dive into it with a glass of wine and things. So just perspective. Okay. See how crumbly this is?
Yeah, the curds are firmer than, and you can feel kind of each one under your thumb there, which is good, yeah. And it's opened out in my hand very nicely. So
Very nicely.
quite a lot
Also,
of different sizes of curd in there as well.
also, I'm not sure, but if you look at these little holes all over, it just gives a lovely aspect of the texture. Even just visually before you touch it or feel it or break it, you know that there is going to be a crumbly element to this.
It's sort of minerally notes in it.
Yeah.
It's kind of the pasture come to my plate. Got really good texture, complex flavor as well. It's not.
Yeah.
It's obviously
flat.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell purely because of the rind that it's not a block cheese. It's traditional cheese has been made, but it has a very complex flavor. Very minerally. Yeah, this is old school Cheshire,
Tradition, yeah.
and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. No, that's
Should we
together.
score it?
Yeah, well, it looks the part.
It does.
I'm going to give it 9 point something and work it out afterwards.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe 9 all the way through, and
Yeah, because there are no rules about awarding half points, are there, Louisa? Helen, we can do a half point here and there if we want.
no, you can make it as difficult you want, Bruce. No problem.
The aroma, and that's just
It's fine. It's lovely. Yeah.
again 9 point something. The flavor's so complex, and it's still going, and it's still as complex, and it's very, very clean. So yeah, it's at least a minute and a half since I swallowed whatever I had in my mouth, but it's still there. Because that 9 point something as well. I'm going to make somebody's day with this. Unless the last one comes up with something else. Texture.
Yeah, 9.5, perfect, can't fault it. Looks good. Visually also texture looks amazing.
And
Nice and
I would say the aftertaste is still lingering.
clean.
And it's just going on and on and on. I'm going to give it 9.5 across the piece.
Yeah, I think so. I'm with you on that.
I see, I might be, it's exceptionally good. Yeah. And so we'll dispose of that to there, and then go for the final one, which is 304.
Bear with me. I'll write on this.
Bit of rind on this one as well, Tony.
Yeah. Sorry, it's just kind of deja vu when you see a rind on the cheese and it takes you back to the farm days in the cellar. Yeah, lovely.
I can smell blue cheese in that one. I can smell penicillin. As in making the blue mold. It's got a bit sour. There's a touch of bitterness in there as well. Just a hint, but it's gone sour.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. It's sour. It's not even acidic or mineral. It's almost sour.
No,
Yeah.
that's unfortunate because I was well taken on with the appearance of it actually.
Yeah, everything looks fantastic. Lovely rind, great shape. Even crumbliness looks good. The color is lovely too. It's really, really nice. It's funny how the flavor lingers, the aftertaste lingers, and it kind of takes you back on the scoring point completely. Just holds you up.
Ultimately, it can look as good as it wants. It's made for eating.
Yeah.
So it does look good. I've got a 9 for appearance.
I guess it stands true for the cheese also, isn't it? Don't judge the book by its cover and the cheese by its looks.
That's it. Yeah, yeah. It ultimately does come.
Sorry, we're getting cheesy away, so let's slow down. Good. So let's call it. I think.
I'll give it 8 for aroma.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll give it 7 for the flavour because it's slightly sour.
Yeah.
Texture.
Lovely.
8.
Yeah.
And the aftertaste, I'll give it 7 as well.
Okay.
Due to the character, because of the sourness, I'm going to give it 7. I know I'm a mean.
Happy.
There we go.
Happy.
So we add that one up here.
So I think hands down 303 was the winner for this category.
I think so, yes. Yeah. So 299 has got 54 points. 9, 18, 6, 4, 42. 300 has got 50. 9, 17, 22, 30. 301 has got 40. 302 has got 57. 303 has got 57. 304 has somehow ended up with 46. So
So 303 comes first then,
yep,
57 points.
yes,
299 comes second with 54 points. And in third place with 50 points, it's 300.
yeah.
So would you provide some final comments just about the winner?
Well, yeah, my first one was wow. Yeah, it's just that is just an old-fashioned Cheshire cheese. And, yeah, wonderful. Yeah. So,
Yeah, I mean, a great example of classic, traditional, as you want to call it, territorial, if you want to call that, because it could be easily misunderstood if you are eating it in any other part of the world. But when you see it, where it's come from and what it should be, it's fantastic. Nice.
yeah,
Right.
really good. Glad yeah. You've got to remember that every cheesemaker, they're putting in what they hope is their best. They're not just doing it. They don't just run around the store and by chance pick a cheese, say we'll send that one in. So there's an awful lot of work goes into actually select the cheeses. As I know, having done it for years, it's not an easy task, and at times it can be thankless. But then when you get a cheese like 303, lovely. Yeah, super job.
Excellent. Well, thank you both for your judging there and some great insights that you gave us into Cheshire cheeses. And this winner will now go through to Saturday's live event, which is the best of categories. And on Saturday, we will also be having a Best Consumer Cheese award as well. And at the end of Saturday, the winner out of all the categories will become the first Virtual Cheese Award Supreme Champion 2020.